Hello friends, welcome to Inside Second Initiative. In today's video, we are going to discuss about Supreme Court today's judgment on whether the governor has the power to remove a minister or not. Okay, we are going to discuss about this particular issue, and this particular issue is related to Tamil Nadu government. Okay, and of course, these observations from the Supreme Court, it is based on the appeal from the Madras High Court. Of course, we are going to discuss about what was the observation made by the Madras High Court as well as the Supreme Court. So, before we discuss further, first let us try to understand what we are going to learn in this particular video. That means learning objectives we are going to check. Then we will see the syllabus mapping. After that, we will go through the concepts. First, we will try to understand why this is in news. Supreme Court observed whether governor has the power to remove or dismiss the minister. Okay, Supreme Court observed that governor don't have the power to dismiss a minister. That was the observation of the Supreme Court. Next, M.L. Ravi. M.L. Ravi is a lawyer and who appealed on the Madras High Court judgment to the Supreme Court. And Supreme Court clarified that they cannot enter into this particular case under Article 136. That means they cannot provide relief under Article 136. That is Supreme Court observation. Then we will discuss about constitutional provisions related to governor. What governor has to do. If you look at Article 163 and Article 164, they deals with the constitutional duties and constitutional position of the governor. Then we will discuss about the duties of Chief Minister, Article 167, and under which condition a minister can be dismissed by the governor. The responsibility of ministers. Ministers enjoy two types of, or ministers are having obligations regarding the two types of responsibility. One is a collective responsibility, the other one is the individual responsibility. Which comes at what time we are going to discuss. Then finally, Supreme Court judgment, majorly Nabam Rabia judgment and some other judgments also we are going to discuss. So this is the video components we are going to discuss. Next, the syllabus mapping. This particular topic is related to UPSC Mains Gender Studies Paper 2. Indian Constitution features significant provisions. Now, let me explain the concept first. The concept is about, Prevention of Money Laundering Act. In the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, Tamil Nadu Minister Senthil Balaji was arrested. Senthil Balaji was arrested. Okay, arrested. And of course, he was given the judicial remand as well. And of course, he was not convicted, that you have to understand. So, after he was been given the judicial remand, next, governor issued a notification of regarding the dismissal of the, Senthil Balaji. But later on the same day, governor rolled back his decision. So, governor reversed his decision. But later, a case filed in the Madras High Court. So, regarding the dismissal of the Senthil Balaji. Because after Senthil Balaji was arrested, his portfolio was stripped away and he is continuing as a Tamil Nadu minister without any portfolio. Of course, this was discussed in the Madras High Court. Madras High Court observed that, being arrested in a case and continuing without any portfolio, it don't go good taste in the democracy. So, to uphold the values of democracy, it is the moral responsibilities on the Senthil Balaji to resign from the ministry. But of course, Madras High Court observed that they cannot issue orders to governor office regarding the dismissal of minister. Madras High Court observed that minister can be dismissed only on the advice of chief minister, and that can be done by the governor. If you look, that is according to the Article 164. Article 164 clause 2 says that Council of Ministers are on the pleasure of the governor. Okay, they will be removed only on the advice of Council of Chief Minister. So, Madras High Court. This Madras High Court judgment, it was challenged in Supreme Court. And today, Supreme Court given its verdict. Supreme Court supported the Madras High Court, and Supreme Court also observed that they cannot give orders regarding the dismissal of minister. It can be done only by the governor on the advice of the chief minister. So, this is the overall concept you have to understand. For better understanding of this issue, you have to know certain constitutional provisions. These constitutional provisions are: first, the Council of Ministers as well as governor relation. If you look at the Article 163, Article 163, Article 163 gives information regarding the relationship between the governor as well as the Council of Ministers. This particular provision is saying that governor shall be aid and advice. Governor shall be given the aid and advice or act on the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. But the governor can return the advice given by the Council of Ministers in the first instance. But the same advice given by the Council of Ministers to governor, then governor has to accept. That is Article 163 clause 1 says. Then Article 163 clause 2, it says that whatever the advice given by the Council of Ministers to governor, that is the nature of advice cannot be questioned in the court. That is Article 163 clause 2. Next, Article 164. Article 164 clause 1, it says that Chief Minister is appointed by the governor and other ministers are appointed by the governor on the recommendation of CM. That means CM is recommending the minister's name and governor appointing them. And of course, Article 164 clause 1A, it is saying that the strength of Council of Ministers should not be more than 15% of the total strength of the assembly. We know that. Actually, this was added later. And tell me students, this restriction on the Council of Ministers, this provision was added through which constitution amendment? Put your answer in the comment section. Next, 1B, it is saying that if a person is disqualified as a member of the House, he will be automatically disqualified from the minister. Now, this is what observed by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court observed that Senthil Balaji is not disqualified as a member of the House. As long as he is not attracted any disqualifications, then he can continue as a minister. That is the Supreme Court observation. Next, Article 164 clause 2, it is saying that ministers are on the pleasure of the governor. That means, Chief Minister can advise the governor for the dismissal of the minister. Unless until CM is giving the advice, governor cannot use his discretion and governor cannot dismiss any minister. Ministers, remember, ministers are collectively responsible to lower house. That is what Article 164 clause 3 is saying. Ministers are collectively responsible to the lower house, but they are individually responsible to the governor. Ministers, whenever the governor requests the information, ministers has to furnish the information. Next, Article 164 clause 4, it talks about the oath of the ministers done by the governor. Then Article 164 clause 5, it says that a person can continue as a minister for 6 months without being a member of any house. But within 6 months, a person should get membership in the either house. It may be the assembly or it may be the council. Then Article 164 clause 6, it deals with the salaries and allowances related to ministers. So these are the various provisions related to Council of Ministers. So 163, 164. That is in the union level, it is about Article 74 and Article 75. Of course, there is one more article, that is Article 167. Article 167, it is about the relationship between the governor and the chief minister. The relationship between the governor and chief minister. So normally, chief minister has to regularly give updates regarding the state administration to the governor, and in some situations, governor may call for some information from the CM. And this same article is also saying that if any decision taken by the minister, but if the decision is not considered by the Council of Ministers, then governor can ask the ministers to put that decision, whatever he taken, before the Council of Ministers. Because Council of Ministers are, at the end of the day, they are responsible to the House, not the individual minister. So these are the very important provisions related to the governor and governor relation to Council of Ministers. Now let's see regarding the context. Governor cannot dismiss the minister without the CM recommendation. These are the observations made by Supreme Court in the case of M.L. Ravi versus Principal Secretary to Governor, Government of Tamil Nadu. In this, Supreme Court supported the judgment given by the Madras High Court. Madras High Court given a judgment that Senthil Balaji cannot be dismissed by the governor. Meanwhile, you have to know that Senthil Balaji, as a minister of the Tamil Nadu government, he was facing charges related to Money Laundering Act. You know that Money Laundering Act was enacted in 2002. ED is the principal agency which will implement the Money Laundering Act. And ML Ravi, he appealed on the Madras High Court judgment to the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court given the judgment which we discussed just now. Article 153, it talks about there shall be a governor for each state. Of course, according to the Indian constitution setup, governor perform dual duty. One duty is constitutional head of the state, the other one is the center's agent. Actually, governor being appointed by the union government, this provision we borrowed from the Canadian constitution, and the concept of governor we borrowed from Government of India Act 1935. And Article 157 and Article 158 that talks about eligibility of a governor. These are the eligibility provisions related to governor, and governor should not having any membership in the any house. It may be the parliament or it may be the assembly, and he should not hold any office of profit, must be citizen of India, and the minimum age of 35 years. And according to various commissions, recommendations such as Sarkaria Commission and Poonchi Commission, according to those commission reports, ideally governor should not belong to that particular state, as well as governor should be not related to active political life. Okay, those people can be appointed as governor. Then just now we discussed about Article 163 and we discussed about various provisions related to Article 164 and 167. Duties of Chief Minister also I explained to you. Dismissal of the ministers. In which condition a minister can be dismissed? Number one, if the Council of Ministers they lost the majority, okay, they lost in the no confidence motion, then obviously all the Council of Ministers will be dismissed. And the second condition is, if a minister is unable to get membership within 6 months, then he will be dismissed. Third one, when a CM recommends to governor regarding the dismissal of minister, then governor will dismiss the minister. These are the various conditions under which a minister can be dismissed. Then responsibility of ministers. Ministers enjoy, okay, ministers have the obligations of two things, collective responsibility and individual responsibility. Collective responsibility is ministers are collectively responsible to lower house of the legislature, whereas ministers are individually responsible to the governor. So this differentiation you have to know. Then we will see the Supreme Court judgment. Supreme Court observed in the case of Shamsher Singh versus State of Punjab 1974, here Supreme Court declared that whether it may be the president and governor, they have to exercise their executive power only on the advice of Council of Ministers. Of course, the same judgment supported in the case of Nabam Revia versus Deputy Speaker as well in 2015. In this case also, Supreme Court clearly mentioned that governor cannot use discretionary powers, and governor discretionary powers are limited only to Article 163 clause 1. That means governor, whatever the advice given by the Council of Ministers, it can be referred back to Council of Ministers only once. If the same advice given back, then governor has to bound to that advice. Then we'll see the yesterday's video question. The Securities and Exchange Board of India meets the needs of it meets the needs of investors, market intermediaries and issuers of securities. Of course, all the above. Now we'll see today's video question. Question related to today's video. Which of the following are not mentioned in the Constitution of India? Read these 4 statements and pick the correct answer regarding the question. Mains question. The government is the master of the country and the Prime Minister is the master of the government. Okay. In this context, discuss the functions and powers of the Prime Minister as the head of the government. What are the powers of the Prime Minister as the head of the government? Powers as well as the functions. As we reach the end of this video, just we do the quick revision. In this video, we discussed about Senthil Balaji case, Supreme Court observations and initial judgment given by the Madras High Court, and we discussed about various constitutional provisions related to governor and the relationship between the governor and Council of Ministers. Apart from that, we also discussed about previously Supreme Court judgments, popular judgments such as Nabam Revia kind of judgments. So this is the detailed discussion regarding the Supreme Court observation regarding the dismissal of minister. Thank you.